Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vulnerability Time podcast. I am your host, published author, and PhD candidate, Josias Abriel. Before we get started, folks, just a couple quick announcements. One, the show is now accepting donations. We need to get a new laptop to continue the show. So I have a Cash App in the episode description below. You just click on the link tree and you can donate. Anything helps. There's this used laptop that I was looking at, and it's about $600 something. So that I will be needing to get that to. I found like the best and cheapest used laptop to be able to record the show, because the current laptop, she's dying on us, folks, and the software and the updates, it's starting to do its thing again. So if you would like to donate to help the show out, please do so. Anything helps. Also, if you are listening on YouTube, give this a like. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give this a 5-star rating. It will help the algorithm. I do need 10 more 5 stars to continue the show. So if you could please do that, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Alrighty, folks. So a minute into our original recording, I realized that I wasn't video recording. So we're back. So I was saying, Jessie, if you could tell us a little bit about you before we get into our topics. Let us get to know you a little bit. Welcome, Jessie, by the way. Jessie's new to the show and is from Ontario, Canada, and which we all know, Canada has consistently been in the top 2 places where this podcast is most listened to ever since it first started. So Canada has consistently been in the top 2. So, yes. Oh, so anyways, yes, Jessie, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. Yeah, I live in Toronto. I have a lot of things going on. Right now, I'm kind of in my pet sitting era. I started pet sitting a couple months ago, and it's been a lot of fun. I also do marketing, so that's my day job. Um, and what else do I do? I also have my TikTok page, Bear Becoming, where I talk about my journey with a mental health disorder called trichotillomania, which is a hair pulling disorder. Um, and the last, like, how I lived with 25 years of shame and hiding that. And then last year, deciding to shave my head and talk publicly all about my experience
Mm,
with all of that. So that's been my more passion project, I guess.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm
And you
enjoying
are gorgeous. You are absolutely
it.
gorgeous. Seriously. Like you slay.
Thank you.
You literally slay. Seriously. Um so your TikTok, that'll be in the episode description below, folks. So you can go check that out. So what made you kind of like start the TikTok? Was it something that you were just already doing, or did you create one, to bring awareness, or was it both? Mm,
Uh, kind of. So I actually never had TikTok before. So this started in April 2025,
mhm.
is when I shaved my head. And before that, I'm a millennial, so my whole world lived on Instagram. And I never had TikTok. Never wanted it or cared for it. Had enough social media fix with
Yeah,
Instagram. But then
yeah.
when I shaved my head, I had like this, not a, I don't know, the word is not like awakening, but like I had like, basically I had lived with this horrible condition, this horrible narrative, like running in my brain 24/7 of like trying to hide it. I had covered it up with wigs and hairstyles and hats and scarves and however I could, like
Yeah.
standing against walls so nobody could see the back of my head. constantly wondering if other people are noticing. It's just very noisy and it's very like
Right.
unfair. Like nobody, you don't need to have that. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so when I finally shaved my head, it's like I lost 500 pounds. I felt
Yeah.
like, I'm like, wow, that wasn't so bad. Like it's okay to not have hair.
Right. Right.
It's better. I feel better. So,
Yeah.
I guess I just felt like empowered at that time to
Yes.
kinda, like, share my story, a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
my journey and everything I had experienced that
Yeah.
I had been hiding and suppressing for so long.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I was just like, maybe I'll just start it on TikTok where nobody I don't know anybody, nobody seems to know. It kind of felt like a little bit anonymous there.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's why I decided to join TikTok, and I feel like it was the right move. Like, TikTok is a very different culture from,
Mm-hmm.
say,
It
YouTube
is.
or Facebook or Instagram. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
more I mean, it's always gonna be social media. There's always gonna be, like, the pros and cons of that, but I would say
Of
it's, like, the
course.
perfect platform for something like this.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I was, like, welcomed with open arms, and,
Yes.
um, yeah, I guess it was encouraging to hear from strangers that were going through the same thing and
Mm-hmm.
people like coming to my page to look for support.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really had that myself. So I felt like called
Right.
to continue.
Exactly. That is so beautiful. Bringing awareness because I didn't know what it, I didn't know um much about it, until I, met you. And so, I appreciate you bringing the awareness. I do, you mentioned, back then you didn't have that support that back then. So what does your journey look like? Because one of our topics is, you know, um, the hair pulling condition journey. What did that journey look like for you?
Oh man. So basically it started when I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of stuff happening in my family life at the time.
Yeah.
And I guess I just learned it as like a way of self-soothing.
Right.
Um, because, it sounds like something that's going to bring you pain, but it's actually grooming mixed with relief.
Right.
Basically, like it's in the same category in the DSM-5 under skin picking, like there's people who like chew their skin,
Right.
chew their
Mm-hmm.
cheeks or their lips or whatever. That's because they're all under the same umbrella, which is body focused repetitive behavior. And then there's also like nail biting, and they're all also listed under OCD and anxiety related
Yes.
disorders. So
Yes.
basically with OCD, it's a loop in your brain that you need to complete, and it can happen subconsciously. That's what causes like a BFRB. It's usually subconscious. Sometimes people will like shake their leg or something that soothes them when they have anxiety, or like it's just something your body has learned
Right.
calms you down.
Yes.
Um, and over time, it just becomes like completely automatic. So yeah, anyway, it started at that point when I was 7 years old. And I learned from the adults in my life when they found out that I was doing this, that it was a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
that I should really stop. And
Yeah.
I was causing problems for everybody around me. So I wasn't able to control it. At the time, I didn't have the tools. I was a child,
Right.
and
Right. You were a child, exactly.
it's a subconscious thing. So
Yeah.
I learned to suppress it and I learned to hide it, and that would be the best way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that there was a word for it until I was like 13 and I looked on Google.
Yeah.
This was like early 2000s. So there was
Mm-hmm.
like one page on Google that
Right. Right.
about it. But I felt like an alien. I felt like the only person in the world with this ridiculous problem, and like
Mm-hmm.
that it was a character flaw. Like if I can't control this one thing, then I'm weak.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just felt like I hated it about myself and I judged myself so much for it and constantly was like trying to hide it, and it was so consuming.
Yeah.
So that's been my journey, I guess. And then yeah,
Yeah.
I was 32, 31 when I shaved my head, almost 32.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's like 25 years of living like that.
Yeah.
Um, Giving up like every single birthday wish, every single New Year's resolution was like, stop doing this.
Yeah.
Um, going to vacation with some like friends or
Right.
going to swim at a pool. Every single occasion was me thinking like stressing out that I had to figure out how to hide this
Right.
from them.
Hmm.
And every conversation I would have with somebody new, I would always be wondering like, are they looking at the top of my head?
Right.
Um, where am I gonna like if there's a certain seating arrangement for something coming up, like where am I gonna sit so I can hide my
Right.
bald spots or like where can I stand? Can I stand on a platform so nobody sees the
Hmm.
top of my head? Should I wear heels? Am I gonna be around short people or tall people? Um,
Right. You had to think
it's
about that. Right.
it's loud and noisy and not.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's been my journey. And then when I shaved my head,
Yeah.
everything kind of changed.
Mm. What did what did you learn from your journey? What did this teach you?
It taught me a lot. It taught me or like just so many things. I guess so what eventually happened was last year, in the beginning of the year, I had told my doctor about living with this disorder and that
Yeah.
I needed help. And she got me on a wait list for cognitive behavioral therapy, like group
Oh,
therapy.
CBT. Okay, nice.
So a local hospital in Toronto, they offer group therapy for people with BFRBs.
Nice.
So I finally got in. It was like a year and a half wait list. And for the first time in my entire life, I was talking with people about it that understood it
Mm,
completely. They knew
good.
exactly what I was talking about and how it felt. Um, and I guess just like speaking to them, and we were all trying to sort this out together and like
Mm,
listening to each other, but also engaging with each other and giving each other support.
yeah.
And I realized I'm giving it to them and I have no problem giving it to them, but I'm not giving it to myself. So,
Mm,
like,
mm.
yeah, just that was like the realization, I guess. And
Wow.
yeah. Sorry, what was
Beautiful.
your question
No,
again?
you answered it. You answered it fabulously. You
Okay.
even said something that I even want to ask more about. So, the power of community, a community that understands you. Tell us a little bit more about how important that is, not just with any conditions, but just with that and just in life in general, like the power of a community that understands you. Like how
Yeah.
that impacts, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think just my whole entire life, anybody who I had disclosed this with
Yeah,
kind of looked at me like they didn't get it. Like but I
right.
also wasn't accepting it in myself, and I was explaining it in a way that like, "I'm so weird, I don't know why I do this, I can't stop."
Right. Okay.
And
Mhm.
so, like, it would usually be like I would bring it up to somebody that was very close I was very close to, and decided after knowing them for a year or more that I wanted to share this with them. It'd usually be something I spoke about once, and then we never spoke about again.
Right.
Um, and so that would feel almost more like worse, like more isolating because it's like
Yeah.
nobody understands me. Um,
Right.
and yeah, so finally being able to talk amongst people that like were doing what you're doing right now of like nodding their head when I was explaining
Yeah.
my situation or my concerns or my confusion or my frustrations. They're all just like there with me 100% like, yes, we're doing like this happened to us too.
Yes.
It's very validating. It's very like I'm not the weirdest person in the world.
Exactly. Or even weird at all, right?
Yeah, like I'm a human having a human experience just like these people are.
Oh, that was profound right there. You're a human having a human experience, and no human experience looks like one set thing. So I
Yeah.
love that you said that, because what if we're not weird? What if we're not? What if we're just, you verbalized that perfectly. What if we're just humans having a human experience? Wow, did y'all hear that? That was very impactful. Just give me a moment. Allowing that to hit me really hard. Like ugh. you know what? Crying is healthy. It is healthy. So forgive me, folks. Well, forgive me to myself for even trying to hold it back.
Aw.
Yeah. So human having humans, because I will tell you this. There is something that I am currently struggling with. Um, and well, it's my addiction, and I almost relapsed yesterday. I almost relapsed the past 3 days. I didn't relapse. I'm 135 days today. Um,
Amazing.
thank you. But I almost relapsed, and I'm afraid I'm gonna relapse today. And regardless if relapse happens or not, how I come out of it, because when I've relapsed in the past, I met myself with shame, and that did not help. That actually um made things a lot worse.
Mhm.
And so I am currently preparing to stay clean and sober, and I am preparing if I relapse to make sure that I don't, like, if I do, that I do not meet myself with shame.
Mm.
So hearing what you said, that hit me like beautiful, beautiful bricks. I really needed to hear that. I needed to hear that grace and that perspective and that outlook.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different, like, it's not an addiction, but I 100% get what you mean.
Yeah,
There's like, yeah, that preparation when you've let yourself down so much in the past that
yeah,
you don't wanna think that's what's gonna happen, but you
right.
also wanna brace for impact.
Exactly.
I think have you done cognitive behavioral therapy before?
CBT, no, they recommended me DBT. Um, I don't know how to say that word, folks. Let me try. Diuretical. I have the book somewhere in my office. Something behavioral therapy. It's not as common as CBT, but it's something that they're often recommended both, but the more popular one is CBT. I looked into doing CBT, but at the place that I was at, there was none in my environment. There was none in my area,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, but go
So
on.
yeah, so the reason I ask you that is because when I was in,
Mhm,
my CBT program, one thing that we learned pretty quickly or pretty early on is that what wasn't tolerated was something called catastrophizing,
mhm,
which is when you have an all or nothing thinking about your behavior. So it's either I'm good because I'm not participating or I'm bad because I am participating, but there's space between that. And for hair pulling disorder, when I like what I was taught to do was like keep a calendar of when I'm participating in the thing. And I have the same thing. Like I had like 140 days that I didn't pull my hair out and then I pulled it out. And so
mhm,
it's the catastrophizing would be when you're not recognizing those days that you were successful and you start having that all or nothing thinking. So I'm a failure because I'm still doing it.
mhm,
But
mhm.
no, wait, I used to do it every single day and now I've gone 134 days without doing it. How is that? I'm better than I was yesterday. So it's like,
Right.
it's not like
Mm,
we like again to that human having a human experience, like only compare yourself to who you were before. Like, if you're doing better, then I don't know. It's hard to
no,
say.
you are saying it perfectly. You are literally saying it perfectly. I want to give you that reassurance right there that
We also want to have
yeah,
accountability, of course. So you don't want to be
of
like, okay, well,
course.
I'm doing like I can
Hmm.
relapse once a year, no problem. Like you don't want if that's not what
Right.
you want to do, that's not the
Right.
objective. But
Right. Right. Exactly.
at least acknowledging like
Hmm.
that you're on a path to doing better is so much better than shaming yourself every time, like
Hmm.
knocking yourself down every single time you slip
Yeah.
because you're facing something that's bigger than you.
Yes. I'm speechless. in a good way. Folks, I told Jessie two, three times that I'm very excited and looking forward to her episode. Um, and I definitely still am. I just didn't know I was going to be experiencing healing to this extent. I never know the extent of healing that I'm going to experience. So I don't really, I don't know, like sometimes I just get so like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm really speechless, but literally, thank you so much, Jesse. See, oof. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Jesse on TikTok. Hey, Jesse, I would. I don't have TikTok though, on purpose because that thing I will be no, I will be so addicted to that thing. I don't it's just like
It is pretty bad.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, oh, but like you said earlier, like a lot of the good things that do come from TikTok, like I do see those good things that do come from TikTok. Like to be maybe this is just a me thingy, but I do see more like it's a different culture on TikTok, and I see more good than I do like Instagram. Not saying I don't see them like both have their benefits. I'm just saying like TikTok is just like a different culture, and it's something that I definitely support. Right? I just know me and my discipline. I'm not doing no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We
Like,
just got to be disciplined on Instagram. We're not doing the TikTok. We
oh
can't
yeah,
do
that's
it.
a lot. I mean, Instagram is a different level for sure. Like I know
No.
one girl that I follow, she has a very similar story as me. She started pulling her hair when she was like in her early teens, I think, and then
Hmm.
she's around the same age as me. And she shaved her head last year, and she started this TikTok page. And she also started on Instagram recently, and she
Yeah,
posted the same content from TikTok onto Instagram. And there were all these negative comments on the same
that
exact
is true.
video.
That makes sense.
Not even like negative about her, but people just take things way out of context because she said,
Right.
I recommend every woman shave their head. And then there's 50 women on there saying, I would never do that. Like, okay,
Right.
so just keep scrolling. I don't know.
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That is definitely something I've noticed, when hearing about TikTok and Instagram, there is definitely, like you said, that difference in culture. It definitely. For me, my issue would be being on my phone way too much. But the difference in culture, like that's completely. But one thing that I do love about you and that woman that you just mentioned, you're bringing awareness to realities that many people don't even know exist.
Mhm.
And when they come across someone who has that different reality, they may intentionally or unintentionally, treat them differently out of ignorance, out of just, and folks, I don't mean ignorance in the shameful way. Ignorance just means not knowing. I know that word now has a negative connotation, but it's more subjective than just an absolute only good or only bad thing, right? Someone just not knowing, right? And so that's what I love about the beauties of, TikTok as well as Instagram. Because I'm sure it made awareness to somebody. Somebody got aware, but more specifically like TikTok, like I definitely seen in that culture, like I'm more supportive of that TikTok culture. But, bringing that awareness so that one day if they do come across someone, they may respond differently than how they would have had they not have known, because our words and our actions, they do matter, and there was someone one time that told me that words don't hurt or matter, and I told them, I was like, well, don't you believe in the power of life and death is in the tongue? So I was like, because and that's like something that is in like a religious biblical text, right? Is that there's power of life and death in the tongue. And I was like, well, don't you believe that there's power of life and death in the tongue? And they're like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I didn't say yeah in like a negative way. I wanted to, but I didn't. I didn't say that because I was just like, okay, maybe they just didn't know. This is a learning opportunity for them, right? And so I love that. I love when people bring awareness to realities that not everyone has experienced, right? And vice versa, because there's so many unique realities that fall into this human experience.
Hmm.
And us not knowing others' realities, we've seen that doesn't work necessarily. Like we need to learn others. We need to learn others. It will help us learn ourselves as well.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I guess I was thinking about that recently, like thinking about all that narrative that I had in my head before I shaved my head.
Yeah.
Um, I want to like I definitely want to. I think because I experienced that my whole life, I always gave a lot of grace to people because I did already I knew like you never
Mhm.
know what somebody else is going through.
Right.
I know like when I was in university at 18, 19, I actually was doing okay in my classes, but I dropped out.
Mhm.
And everybody was wondering, would you do that? And I was just like, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. But that wasn't the truth. The truth
Mhm.
was every time I went down to study, I was pulling all of my hair out. So you never actually like you just never ever know. And it's not fair to judge someone and be like, oh, she should have stayed in school. You don't know the full story. So just
Right. Right.
but yeah, it's like we give grace to people. If we saw somebody on the street in a wheelchair, like we
Mhm.
would, open the door for them. But we just like if you don't see it on the outside, we think, oh, everything's fine. They should be able to, you know, give me the treatment I think that they should be able to give me because of the way that they look. Like you don't know
Yeah.
the person that you're interacting with might have lost their father yesterday, or
Exactly.
you have never
Yeah.
a clue, and a certain we're expecting something from
Yeah.
people at all
Yeah.
times. That's not fair.
Right. Right. And I go in what I call my I don't know mode, which basically I just shut my mouth and I listen. I listen and I ask questions to learn and I watch my tone. Um, because if it's something that I haven't experienced or don't know much about, I want to learn. I want to know. And I will say this, like honestly, like learning about others has helped me to learn about myself and love myself and love others as well. It seemed like with whatever I was doing, learning about myself or learning others, it's like it was like we were all one. Like it was like this feedback loop, right? It's just like, wow, my understanding and or my want to understand, my empathy, my love for others, my self-love, it grew. And I didn't even think that those two would have anything to do with each other. Me just listening and learning someone, I didn't know that that was going to have an impact on me, but it did. And so folks, like if you want to grow in love and or grow in self-love, I'm not speaking for everyone, but I will speak for myself. Something if someone asked me, what do I recommend? I would recommend one of the many things. I would recommend many things, but one of those things that I definitely would recommend be at the top 3 of the list is learning others. Learning others because that will be that feedback loop, like learn yourself as well and then you can also better learn others, you can better learn yourself. Like it's that feedback loop, right? It can really be a mirror for you. And
Oh, sure.
yeah, I just think that that's really beautiful. So if you're listening to this, and you want to grow in learning, whether it's towards yourself or others, or grow in self-love, um, learn yourself and learn others. You can go to therapy and other things that can help you with that. But it showed me that we impact each other. We have impact on each other. We
Yeah.
we do in ways that we don't know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hmm. So that's why I'm like, you know, when you're bringing awareness, Jesse, to people, you're doing so much more than just bringing awareness. And I wish I could go back and thank everyone who I learned and thank them for helping me learn myself and love myself and just humans more. I didn't know that that would have an impact on me until I looked back. So, Jesse, on behalf of everyone that you help make aware, I thank you. You are doing so much more than just bringing awareness.
Aw, that's really sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
the
think
truth.
that's definitely what has encouraged me to keep posting and keep like
Yes.
trying to reach more and more people because I think a lot of people see themselves in like I thought at first when I started doing my TikToks that I am very niche, you know. I have
Mm-hmm.
hair pulling disorder. That's only I want only want to talk to people with hair pulling disorders,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so much deeper than that. Like we
Mm-hmm.
are all experiencing some kind of coping behavior. Um,
Yes.
and it's all like interlaced. And
Yes.
it goes back to like there's like when I said that what you're dealing with is actually bigger than you, I meant because our bodies are bigger than us. Like our conscious part of our
Mm-hmm.
body is so much smaller than what everything is going on. Like
Right.
we're not
Right.
conscious of our heart pumping. We're not conscious of our blood pumping in our bodies. You know, there's so much happening in there. And our coping behaviors are the loops that we go through in order to
Yeah.
soothe ourselves are like not consciously decided on. So yeah, and if everybody has their own version of that, and like what you just said about learning others, making you learn yourself better, it's almost like it kind of does the opposite too. It's like
Mm-hmm.
learning others makes me realize how much I don't know about myself and how much I don't know about others, right?
Exactly.
Instead of coming into things as assuming like, oh well, I think this way, so should you.
Right.
Um, being like, it's good, it's like beautiful that you look at it like curiosity instead, like, oh, what
Mm-hmm.
am I missing here?
Yeah.
What can I learn here? Instead of just thinking, you know, I'm my viewpoint is the only viewpoint that makes sense.
Right. Yes, and it I never have really, and I recognize this, I never have really struggled to, well, at least for majority of my healing journey, I've never really like struggled to want to understand others. I think the only, and I mean that's just a thing. So that's why I say, um, it like I do want to say like yes, folks, I am aware like it can definitely be difficult to understand others. Um, So I want to throw that out there. I don't want folks to think I'm just speaking blindly from privilege. I'm just speaking from my experience, and I'm recognizing my experience is not everybody's. So, folks, I'm holding myself accountable, Jesse. I'm holding myself accountable. Um, the time that I struggled the most to want to understand others is, and I really don't like the game of politics. I don't. But I think folks know that I don't like how women have been treated historically, globally. I don't like how women have been treated. And so I was really, 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 really hoping for a female president here in the US. So I think when I saw a lot of intentional and unintentional sexist comments and misogynistic comments, that really did a lot to me. And I had to go to therapy. I literally had to go to therapy because of that. I'm not even joking. Like I literally went to therapy because of that. I did not recognize who I was for a month or two. Um, and it just, so that was hard for me to understand. And then I also look at it and I'm just like, I wonder if we would see all of those comments if folks listen to others, if they maybe took the time to learn about others even though they don't have any experience with it. Like basically saying like for me my um I have I've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Um Someone shouldn't have to struggle with or know someone who struggles with, a hair pulling or major depressive. depressive disorder to learn about it, even if it's just a little bit. Um, I think that it is our duty as humans to learn about others and learn about ourselves. Um, because I do see that in societies, one of the biggest sicknesses, it's not always, but there's more sicknesses, but one of the biggest illnesses in society is lack of understanding towards not only ourselves, but our neighbors,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, what would this world look like if we listen to someone? And it's hard. It's not easy to do, especially if you've never been taught that and it's something totally against you. And I'm aware that, some communities, they just don't like, they live in like really small area towns, and they don't really have that luxury of having a mindset that's so different from theirs come in. So I have grace and I have empathy towards that. I truly do. I truly do. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it though, but like I have some empathy, but that the only reason why I have empathy is because I used to be that growing up as a kid though, where it's my lack of understanding happened in different ways, but it was because of my environment. It wasn't till I reached out of that environment. Well, I didn't reach, I was forced out of my environment
Mhm.
that I was able to but I remember that feeling of stuckness though.
Yeah, I think you're kind of like explaining perfectly what you do, and like you saying that you know, try to understand everybody else, and you're even so understanding and empathetic of people who are ignorant that that's how much you try to understand. So, but it's interesting. Like, I guess I'm thinking of, like, I've only thought about this recently, but like the
Mhm.
word ignorant is the root word, not ignore.
Oh.
So it's kind of like what you're saying is like they're choosing to just see their side
Mm. Mm.
in a way. I don't
Oh.
know if I correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
there is space to be forgiving for ignorance for sure, but
Right. Mhm.
at the end of the day, like,
Right. You have at the end of the day, we do get a responsibility to learn, right? Like exactly. Oh, Jesse, I am loving this conversation. You're just coming through with the folks. What? Okay, that's making me like think. Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. See, this is why we need multiple perspectives. I'm loving this. This is amazing. So, something I did want to talk about is how important self-compassion and nervous system safety is. That's something I wanted to get into because I know those were the last two of our topics. Um, but I feel like s- self-compassion definitely plays a part in a healing journey. I just feel like it is so needed. And nervous system regulation and nervous system safety, that is extremely needed, right? That's not something that I don't hear about as much though. I hear the self-compassion aspect. I hear heal the mind aspect. I don't ever hear, oh, guess what? There's another part to it. The nervous system um can live in the past and not know it's doing that out of love for you, trying to protect you.
yeah.
So it's on a 10 when the environment requires 0, but it doesn't know that. And so it can turn on and off at the wrong times or just stay on. So can you talk to us about self-compassion and nervous system safety, like how that showed up in your journey and how important it is?
Oh, I could. How much time do we have?
We got 18 minutes.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. So, yeah, like you said that perfectly, like so well. There is like, of course, yeah, self compassion is important. But as you said, like your nervous system could be living a whole other life. You can be compassionate, giving yourself affirmations
wow.
like, I'm doing so well, I'm so calm, I'm so happy. Meanwhile, your nervous system is like getting all the information wrong and is thinking
Writing
like
that down.
we're in an extreme situation right now, right? I when I started like unpacking all of this behavior and trying to figure out what was the causes, where was it coming from, I was listening to all these different podcasts. Like all of my research is very rogue research. I'm not a neurologist or anything like
Hmm.
that. I'm
I
just
love that word, rogue research.
yeah. I've just done this, like, I've just learned about this for a couple of decades. So, um, but learning about the nervous system, what I've found out that is that when we are in a state of panic, your nervous system exists just to protect you, just to keep you
Right.
safe. And that's why we get like, we have intuition. And we have like our bodies remember things sometimes, but more than our brain remembers things. And that's when we get like deja vu. It could actually be our ancestors experience something
That's true.
and our bodies are recognizing what that stimulus was,
Hmm.
and so it's reacting to something, and you're like, I don't know why I feel like
Yeah.
I recognize this sensation in my body.
And
um,
let me for really quick. So for folks listening, I want you to know what Jesse just said. That's actually scientifically proven. That's it. We see it show up where it's commonly talked about when we talk about generational trauma. Because, if let's say if your parents don't heal something, because trauma does mess with the DNA, they can pass it on to that child. And if the grandparents don't heal something, it pass on to the parents, and if the parents don't heal that, pass on to the child. So the nervous system can still be impacted through there. So I just want everyone to know that this is not something Jesse's just saying out of
yeah.
happenstance or because it sounds like it makes sense. No, that's actually proven uh, reality.
So basically our nervous systems are responsible for our survival instincts too. So
Yes.
the reason why we're like inherently we know to run away from a bear or it's not because we had that experience before. It's because we've survived so many like centuries or millennia. And yeah, so going to that point, when you are experiencing an immediate need for safety, your nervous system actually like pulls energy from different parts of your body in order to give you that boost of energy to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
So if let's again going back to that example, like let's say there's a lion, you come across a lion and you need all your energy to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Your nervous system is taking energy from your gut, energy from your lungs, energy from your spleen to put all of it
Mm,
into where it needs to go
I'm
directly
gonna
to get
write that
yourself out
down.
of there. And so when you're like, what can happen is if you're in a long-term survival mode, your body is holding on to your body is taking energy from all these parts of your all these parts of you that should be used for other things.
Wrote that
Um,
down. Mhm.
sorry.
I said no. I was writing that down. This is some good
Oh,
stuff. Continue.
oh,
I'm
am I making
hooked.
sense? Yeah.
Yes, 1000%.
So yeah, that's when you're like storing it in
Mm,
you and you don't even realize. And that's when you start
wow.
having like, if you're having gut issues or you're having like different organ issues, it could be like you're not operating properly.
Right. Right.
um, and so that's why it's so important to heal that as well. And that just comes with paying attention. Um, pay attention to when you're feeling wrong, when you're feeling off. We are so separated from that these days.
Yes, it's true.
But I think just like, I've said this before too, like looking at yourself like how you would look at a child, how you want that child to be set up for success. Set
Yes.
yourself up for success that way, you know?
Yes.
And that
Mm,
comes with, yeah, of course it is self-compassion, but it is also understanding that there's a lot happening at all
yes.
times. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that was so beautifully said, Jesse. Very well articulate, very well said. And yes, it made sense. It
Okay.
made so much sense. Jesse, have you ever thought about having your own podcast?
I have not.
Because you could really, I think, I speak for everyone when I say you definitely, if you ever did consider it, it's something you would be very successful at. And I'll say that.
Thank you. I mean, maybe I will. You've inspired me. This has been a really cool podcast. Usually, I'm on when I do any podcast. It's a lot of like it's sort of more interview style. This I love this
Okay.
conversation style. It feels
Yes.
very easy. So I appreciate this.
Yeah. More human, you know. I puke at an interview style podcast. In fact, I turned those off.
Mhm.
It's just not for me. It's not for me. It may be for others. It's not for me. And I feel like it will go against the whole concept of vulnerability, right? I feel like the interview style, which may be, work for other podcasts with different type of concepts or whatever they're doing, but not vulnerability. I feel like interviewing can definitely kind of limit the human. And I don't know. I don't like any limits. I hate that. I hate it. I don't care what anyone says. I hate it. I don't like I just don't like limits. I just really don't. And
Yeah, it's
yeah.
nice to flow, to know, like, you know, I have a question to what you just said, and it might not be on the script, but like, let's
Right.
just talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm okay, so when I we're running up on time, so I'm gonna close out the show, but stay on for like 2 more minutes after I close out. Folks, remember to check out Jesse's TikTok. Link is in the episode description below. So just go ahead and click and enjoy. Two, if no one today has told you that you are worthy of love and you are worthy of healing, you are worthy of compassionate healing. Allow myself to be the first and allow yourself to be the second. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of compassionate healing. Right? And don't forget your nervous system. Right? So, alrighty, folks. So I will see y'all next episode for whatever that may be.